Question that I want us to ask as we focus especially on verse 6 of 1 Peter 4 is, what does preaching to the dead mean? Preached even to those who are dead. The gospel was preached even to those who are dead. What is that referring to? And how does the thought surrounding that relate through this word for back to what has gone before? So what is the train of thought here? And the way we go about answering a question like that is simply attending very carefully to these connecting words for and this is why and so that we can try to make coherent or see the coherence of what is in the train of thought. So Father, as we tackle this very difficult verse, guard us from error. Help us to be humble and not claim more than we can really claim here. But we do want to see at least a plausible understanding of your word and how it helps us live. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Back up to verse 4. They are surprised. They are surprised when you do not join them in the same flood of debauchery and they malign you. So that's the situation. You're being criticized and mocked and maligned because you're not walking in the old sins you used to with your friends. But these mockers, will give an account of him who's ready to judge the living and the dead. And we've seen all that in previous sessions. So he's comforting us in our suffering, at least verbal suffering of being maligned, that they won't get away with it indefinitely. Even if they live to the end of their lives and then die, judgment is going to follow them into death so that they will not have gotten away with it, even if they lived for 50 years prospering while you were miserable under their criticism or their persecution. Now, verse 6. For, we'll come back to that, this is why, now what does this refer to? Is it going that direction or that direction? Check it out. This is why the gospel was preached even to those who are dead. That, and don't you agree that this is defined by that clause? This clause right here is what this refers to. This is why the gospel was preached to those who are dead, namely, so that, though judged in the flesh according to men, they might live. This is why the gospel is preached to those who are dead. They might live in the Spirit according to God. So my question then becomes, if this is why is defined by that clause right there, then how does all of that relate to what's gone before? Or be more specific, how does for work? Now notice, just before verse 6, it says, those who malign you, are going to give an account to him who's ready to judge the living and the dead. He's going to judge the dead. Now, does because relate immediately to that? He's going to judge the dead. Well, try it. I don't think so, but try it. See if it works. He's going to judge the living and the dead because the gospel was preached to the dead so that they might live. Well, that doesn't make sense. The flow of the argument breaks right there, because he was saying if they hold out in an unrepentant way all the way to the end, maligning you, then God will make sure that they get their comeuppance and they will be judged in death. Now, if this turns it all around so that they are saved in death, that argument right there doesn't support that. It doesn't make any sense. Not only that, here's a second reason why I don't think that works. The tense here of this is why the gospel was preached, wouldn't it have to say will be preached? If it's referring to those who are maligning you right now, and they live 20, 30, 40 years, and then they die, and God judges them, then for the argument to work, he'd have to say, for this is why the gospel will be preached to them when they die. But it doesn't say that. So I don't think that works. Well, what is the other possibility, or several possibilities? And I'm only going to give you the one that I see here. And I want to admit immediately that I don't claim certainty here. This text has caused dozens of interpretations to be given. People that I highly respect have written commentaries that have taken different positions on this. And so we're up against one of those strange texts, just like we were in 3:19. And some people think this is a reference back to those who died in Noah's day, and Christ went in the Spirit and preached to them. I don't think so. I don't think that's what is going on here. So let me just commend to you what I see, and then you test it and see if it's what makes sense out of the text in the best way as you read it. I think he's saying, you've got enemies who are maligning you because you're not walking in the same debauchery. And I want to give you some encouragements. And the first encouragement I give you is verse 5, namely, they will be judged whether they live or die, so that you don't have to fret. You can hand it over to God. You can keep returning good for evil and let the judge of all the earth do right by them, and he will do right, and they will never get away with anything, because all justice will be done, all rights will be given, and all wrongs will be righted. And I think this 4 right here is another argument for our encouragement, which is threatened by an implicit criticism that you can reconstruct from this. And the implicit criticism is, you Christians say that you were born again to a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus, and that you are going to be alive forevermore. Well, you are dying. We've even perhaps put some of you to death, and so much for your life and your superior walk with God. You died just like we die. To which Peter says, take heart. Not only will they be judged, but the gospel was preached to those of you who are now, I'm adding all that, that's an interpretation, are now dead, so that though judged in the flesh, as it looks to men, you really live as it is to God. And so there are 2 arguments here for why, in the midst of being maligned, you should take heart. One is those who malign you are themselves, if they do not repent, going to be judged whether they live or die. And the other encouragement is, even though you die, and it looks like, according to the flesh, judged in the flesh, it looks to men like you are judged. You are not judged, but rather you live in the Spirit according to God. So take heart.